What's happening? Landlord from Alabama here, back with another video. And today, man, we finna talk about Dante Fowler. You know damn when it signed one of his boys. Now let's see if he can come and make some noise. Let's go. Okay, maybe you was involved with the cartel, allegedly, and you know you was involved in some nefarious type activities, and you unfortunately got incarcerated and you was gone. So let me bring you back up to speed about Mr. Dante Fowler. He's coming out of St. Petersburg, Florida, standing at 6'3", 225 pounds, and ran a 4.6 and a 40. He started his career at the University of Florida, where he had a total of 140 tackles, 33 tackles for loss, 14.5 sacks, and 5 forced fumbles. And he earned second team All-SEC in 2013 and first team honors in 2014. He then declared for the draft and got drafted by the Jacksonville Jaguars, third overall in 2015. But unfortunately, Dante was hit with an ACL injury, and it kept him out his whole entire rookie season, so that took a lot away from him. That kept him from showing the player he could be out the gate. But the following year, he only had one start. He had a total of 32 tackles, but he had 4 sacks and 5 passes defensed. I'm sure him coming off the injury, they probably brought him along a little slowly. They wasn't expecting him to be Reggie White after coming off an injury like that. In 2017, he had a total of 21 tackles, but he had 8 sacks. So that right there lets you know that he was only in pass rushing situations. He was a pass rush specialist. That's what he was out there for. Those are the type of packages he was available for. In 2018, he was suspended for a violation of the league's personal conduct policy. And you know Roger Goodell was out there lurking somewhere in the trees in the background, ready to do something to somebody. But after 7 games, he ended up being traded to the Rams. So after that Harvey Dent, two-faced type year playing for 2 squads, he had a total of 30 tackles and 4 sacks. And that's the year I believe the Rams ended up beating the Cowboys in the divisional round when they ran all over us. We had 0 run defense that game. They just ran all over us, and I believe they eventually ended up losing the Super Bowl to Brady that year. In 2019, he signed a 1-year deal with the Rams and came out and went berserk, went bonkers, he went nuclear. This man had 58 tackles, 11 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, and a touchdown with 6 passes defensed. He had an incredible year, and after that, he ended up going to get the bag from the Atlanta Falcons and signed a 3-year deal. He ended up playing 2 years, where he ended up with a total of 59 tackles, 7.5 sacks, and then 4 forced fumbles. But eventually it ended up not working out, and then we know what happened this year in 2021. The Cowboys picked him up in free agents. To be honest, those couple of years in the Falcons, man, their defense was terrible. In 2020, it was probably the only defense that was worse than the Cowboys. Like, those were some historically bad defenses, so you can't really hold that against Dante Fowler that much. That defense was just terrible as a whole, and a lot of people try to blame that on Quinn, even though he was the head coach, not the DC. Those are 2 totally different responsibilities. But he did get that team to a Super Bowl, which is a very Herculean type effort to get the Atlanta Falcons to a Super Bowl. He should be credited for that alone. But to be honest, man, him and Randy Gregory are very, very similar players. Even though Randy is a little taller, they both have similar builds. They both have similar skill sets, similar athleticism. They are basically pass rush specialists. They won't be making all of their money off of playing the run. I like what I see from Dante Fowler. I believe he could be a big-time addition to this defense. A lot of people think that if we don't spend an arm and a leg on these free agents, that they're just not gonna count, and it don't really matter that we picked them up. But last year we could see we picked up J-Ryan Curson. He had an outstanding year. He had a big impact on his defense. So I don't know why we like to sleep on the players that we acquire just because we didn't pay a whole lot of money for them. That doesn't mean anything. I think Dante Fowler will fit this defense well. He is a product of Dan Quinn. Dan Quinn vouched for him basically at every stop that he made. So you know he's a 100% Dan Quinn type guy. And if anybody on the planet know how to utilize this man, it's definitely Mr. Dan Quinn. So expect him to be used to the maximum ability. Without a shadow of a doubt, I feel like Dan Quinn will get the best out of him. Somebody named Jack in the comments asked me a question. I won't say his last name because it's pretty nefarious, but he asked me, do I think that they will have more 3-4 type schemes this year? And that's really a good question when you take into account that Dante Fowler had his best years with the Rams playing outside linebacker. And just imagine if we can bring Tank to the inside, put Neville or either Osa in the middle, and then you got Dorrance Armstrong on the other end, or Chauncey Golston, whoever you want to do. And then the 4 standing linebackers will be Sam Williams, Dante Fowler on the outside, and then you got Micah Parsons and LVE in the middle. That'll be an insane lineup. That'll be crazy. That'll be a nightmare in the NFL, especially these subpar quarterbacks that we have in the NFC East. But him as a player, I'm really excited about. I believe he fits the mold perfectly. He's a great substitute for a player like Randy Gregory. They have very similar skill sets. And even though Randy's a little taller, they have a little similar build. He has a nearly elite type burst. He has a great lean. He's a natural leaner coming around them offensive tackles. He attacks the outside shoulder of the tackle very, very fast. He's coming in a hurry, just like Randy Gregory. But to sum it up, in my opinion, they are both players who never reached their maximum potential. Randy, it was due to a lot of suspensions. Dante Fowler, I don't know why he wasn't getting the type of opportunities at first. So they both really was limited in opportunities and actual production on the field, but Dante did get closer to his full potential than Randy Gregory did. He actually had an 11 sack year. I believe Randy's top year might have been 6 or might have been 7, but he has never got to double-digit sacks, so you have to tip your hat and give those type of props to Dante Fowler. I don't believe the drop-off will be too severe. I know we like Randy's potential, but I don't think Dante has reached his full potential yet either. But I'm really excited about what we can see from Dante Fowler, especially when you think about he's not really just the sole substitute for Randy Gregory. He's really additional. If he don't ball out, we do have Sam Williams coming behind him. We do have Dorrance Armstrong out there. We got Chauncey Golston. Even though he might be moving inside, he can still play outside too. He's versatile. So is Osa. So is D-Law. So I believe ultimately we have a whole bunch of defensive linemen and defensive ends, rushers, pass rushers, just coming all kinds of different ways and avenues to these quarterbacks. And I feel like the mad scientist Dan Quinn will conjure up something very, very crazy and nefarious to give all these offensive coordinators nightmares. And don't be surprised if you see Dante Fowler get about 8 or 9 sack range somewhere up in there and basically have a better year than we ever seen from Randy Gregory. No shot to him, but I believe we have a good enough defense that allow him to do something like that. But that's all I got for you today, man. Just holla at your boy, Landlord from Alabama, with the same handle on all social media. And like I say, 1K, one love, Cowboys Nation. Let's go.